Yep. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, can Rusty go?
Everybody who can hear me, raise your hand. That way you see how far I go.
Hey, everybody that can hear me, raise your hand. All right, all right. I see. Oh, yeah, even in the back. All right. I think we're doing good. You guys, we're going to do a panel discussion on Stol, short takeoff and landing, as you all know. We've got a great panel up here tonight, and we're going to talk about several things related to competition Stol and getting into Stol. Yeah. We'll probably do questions later, but you're not allowed. Oh, these aren't them? Oh, darn.
Just real quick, so we got our guys down here from Intercut Productions that are doing all the production for ArkanSTOL this year. They're going to live stream this to the ArkanSTOL channel, and it will be replayable later. So, guys, come up close. Just don't get in the way of the camera if you can, because Doug doesn't like to not be on camera. And here's the deal. We're going to go through a little bit of discussion about this, a lot, and nothing is really off the table here. We've all been, if you guys, any of you saw the discussion we did, and it was done up at Oshkosh and Theater in the Woods, it's a open, honest discussion about what's going on here, and because there's a lot of mixed feelings out there, right? And we're trying to, as a community, pose something very positive, and get people to understand we're just not out here in the wild woods of Arkansas or Texas or Louisiana or wherever, Nebraska. Sorry, you thought I forgot. Doing this stuff, and we're trying to get the message out there. So that's the idea here. As we get to questions, nothing's off the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't we start with just a quick introduction with everybody. I'm Rusty Coonfield, one of the co-founders of ArkanSTOL, and I'm going to moderate the panel today.
My name's Collin Caneva. I fly Old Green Plane, and I'm the founder of Mayday Stol in Nebraska.
OGP!
I'm Levi Noguess. I'm the founder of Me, and I fly anything that I can, but here I'm flying a Storch. Replica Storch. I'm from Texas, and I've been competing in the Lone Star Stol series and ArkanSTOL since it started, and I just love to have fun with airplanes.
I'm Jerry.
That's all you need to know.
I'm Jerry Clemens, Clemons Insurance. I fly an old red Husky, but it's not here because it's got work needing to be done, but we're going to have fun anyway. Oh, yeah, Bonanzas. Yeah, thanks.
Hi, I'm Doug Jackson. I'm founder of the National Stol Series, and just glad to be here, and great weather. Glad these guys invited us all to come do this.
All right, I'm John Young, and I'm the other half of the ArkanSTOL kind of contention here, along with Joe Edwards, who is somewhere in the crowd here, I think, if he's not grabbing a whiskey. And there are one thing I want to say about the ArkanSTOL folks themselves specifically, and everybody out here. All of this in Stol in general, whether it's my event, Doug's event, Colin's event, and it's not possible without every element. The pilots that are willing to go out there and fly and do it, show that there are limits that can be explored and done safely. The sponsors that make this all happen with their time and their finances. The volunteers that come here just because they love doing this. That's huge. And then this beautiful, venue we have here at Birds. But I think all of our competitions are built the same in that respect. So thank you for that.
Yeah, the community is so important, and it's kind of a team sport, if you will, to maintain our super fun lifestyle that we have here, and so that's why you're seeing a large cross-section from all across Stol events, all across the community, and Stol people that are playing in the Stol community and providing value to the Stol community. So on that note, Collin, why don't we talk? Let's start with you, and let's talk about your event and just kind of why you got into it and what you've learned from that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, so we started Mayday Stol a few years ago, and it was more than anything to get people in the Midwest, because there's so many events on the West Coast and Southwest and things that it's just hard for the Midwest and people on the East Coast to get. So we started Mayday Stol a few years ago, and some of you may have heard we had a tragic accident last year. And we'll sit up here and we'll talk about community all night long. But the reality of it is we are a community. And so the biggest thing with the community is when you lose somebody, you look back and how did that happen? And, even today, a couple of us were watching the flying, and, that couple seconds in your brain where you think, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to push my limits, I'm going to push the limits to the plane. You're not pushing your limits or just the limits of the plane. You're pushing the limits of events. And so when it comes to coordinators, it's not easy it's really fun to throw the parties. It's really fun to throw the events. It's really fun to showcase our skills. But we have to think about our community in general, and when you start to push that envelope, just don't. Nobody cares how fast your plane can climb. Nobody cares how close to the trees you can get. They might get an ooh and an ah for 3 seconds, but if you cross your envelope, everybody will always remember that envelope. They're never going to remember that few seconds of fame. So I guess that's my soapbox speech of tomorrow when we're competing, tomorrow when we're flying. I'm competing as well. Stay in your envelope. Stay in your lane. Don't worry about the fame. Just fly your airplane and fly the course and have fun. I mean, this is a well-designed course. But it's a lot of hard work, and so if you go through all this work and there is an accident, man, you just spoiled the punch for everybody. I'm not saying past accidents happen because, this, that, or the other thing, but I am saying a lot of it is pilot error. It's not error on the organizers, so why are we having to pay for it? It's not error on the manufacturers. Why are they? It happens because someone says, I'm going to try something that I probably shouldn't. And, man, I have to believe that the few seconds following that is the longest 3 seconds of someone's life. Crap, I just screwed up. So as a coordinator, that's important to remember for everybody, is just keep that in mind, our community.
That's right. We represent the Stol community in a really strong way, and we have the responsibility to show it in a great positive light, to do the work necessary to make sure that the events are run professionally, and as much safety as we can throw into the event as possible is there. And so it's very exciting. Stol flying is very exciting. We all love it. That's why we do it. And people getting out and really showboating quite a bit are just not necessary. And John, why don't you talk a little bit about just a little bit about the process that we've had with ArkanSTOL this year in redesigning the course.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And ArkanSTOL has been an evolution. We started off with what we thought was a really good idea, and a lot of people know the story. Not everybody does, but so they were sitting around the campfire here, and Zen Bolden and his wife Pam are owners of this place, and Zen is a Kit Fox pilot, and he has designed 20-some runways on this acreage that we have down here. And a lot of us in this area discovered it, became friends, grew that community, and we started flying these runways. And got the idea that, all the other Stol events that are out there, none of them are really doing it in the backcountry, and using backcountry skills. So that's how that kind of formed. We had a great first year, even though it was rainy. The second year we had issues as well. And going through this stuff. And we found that the pilots pushed the limits further than we ever would have imagined. And that's just the fact. Part of that, we were amazed. The pilots that came out here and the young pilots, the experienced pilots that had skills that were way beyond what we ever imagined was just fantastic. But then we also saw some bravado. We saw some, I'm going to one up this, or I'm going to make my airplane fly like it isn't supposed to fly because I saw a lighter airplane do something, and so we had some issues. So we took a hard look at the course this year, a really hard look at the course. Flew a lot of circuits. My four-flight paths around this place are almost filled in. You can't see birds anymore. But we looked at several key areas and decided that the places that people were taking the highest risk weren't things you would do in the backcountry. So we brought in elements that brought a precision into it as well as a speed factor. So the pilot would expeditiously run the course, but with precision. So that's what we've done, and so far, I think we've gotten a good response. We'll start practice tomorrow. Qualifying was today. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's. I'm really happy with the course this year. I think so far, everybody that has seen the videos and the pilots that have talked through it are really excited about it. But we've done it in a way that helps maintain the professionalism of the event. Doug, National Stol has been super successful all across the country, and it's a way for people to get into Stol competition flying and try their hand at flying in front of a crowd and enjoy the camaraderie of a Stol event. Tell us why you started National Stol.
Well, National Stol was an afterthought, really. We started as a single event, Lone Star Stol, there in Gainesville, Texas, in 2000 or 2019 or 20. Yeah.
I was a sponsor.
Yeah, you were. You were one of our very first sponsors, and it was almost an afterthought. We were just out on a sandbar one day playing. Some guys said, we never have a Stol competition in Texas anymore, or anywhere in the southern United States, and I kind of had a off-road racing background and been around promoting stuff, and so somebody said, well, why don't you do it? And I thought, well, it can't be that hard, Boy, yeah, understatement of the year. But anyway, that first event was a train wreck. We had 80 competitors signed up. I think 40 got there through the rain and ended up having to move the field in the middle of it. And then fast forward to today, I don't know how many, I've lost count of how many events we've done. Nitra made this year, but to date, since we started, 20 something. So Anitra Goddard out there, she is our event coordinator and kind of makes everything happen nowadays with the National Stol. We couldn't do it without her. But anyway, we fast forward to today, and here we are, and I'm just amazed at what these guys have done. It's so nice to come and just be a spectator and watch and learn, from other people on how they do things. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're
Doug's a
at.
lot cooler to hang out with when he's not doing an event too, so that makes it fun.
Yeah, I've heard him a lot nicer guy.
He gets to enjoy it. Yeah. That's awesome. And, really, so 20 events, right? 20 plus events.
Something.
And all over the country. And so that is a huge outreach into the country to bring people into this lifestyle and this sport that we love. And that is super admirable. It's super cool. Obviously, lots of challenges. We're talking about lots of challenges, a lot of details. Flying is hard enough. Flying backcountry is really hard. Putting all of that together into an event is just mountains of details, right? But it's a team effort. We've got all of our great sponsors that are all on board that are helping make these events like these possible. One of those is Jerry Clemens from Clemons Insurance. And not only does he directly support events like this, but he directly supports you guys with insurance. And I'm going to let him talk about how he does that. It's pretty cool.
And he competes.
And he competes.
A little bit, not very well, but I try to compete. So one of the things that we do to help support the Stol in general is when dealing with the insurance companies, I try to take the head guys of the insurance companies to these events and let them watch And it's surprising, you know, you'd think you'd want to keep the head insurance guys away from an event like this. But what their reaction is whenever they see these things like this, they say, well, these guys are making better pilots out of these guys. Because everything that they're doing is they're refining skills. And so as what we're doing today, you know, you guys are doing qualifications and there's safety meetings, and there's so many people out there that will go out into the backcountry with zero training, and they'll go crack up their airplanes, and the insurance companies, they see that all the time. But with an event like this, and all of the STOL events, there's actual hands-on training so that you can be a safer pilot. So whether you're in the backcountry or you're just having fun doing something like this, so from an insurance company's perspective, they're looking at this and they're saying, well, they are making good pilots better, which is great.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's super awesome. We all have a responsibility to mentor people through this process, and we're doing our darndest to get them excited, but also to bring them in kind of we'd like to bring them in a little bit more structured way. Levi's actually doing that a little bit, and he's like put his money where his mouth is, boots on the ground, went and bought a Super Cub just so he could like take people flying. Talk about that a little bit.
So some of y'all may have seen me on Facebook or YouTube or something like that. And if you do, you probably always notice I'm always talking about having fun. And that's because it's supposed to be fun. Nobody here had ever gotten an airplane or a car or anything else and thought, you know, I'm going to go out and have an accident. I'm going to go out and ride this one wheel, which I'm doing now, thanks to my insurance agent who loaned me his one wheel. Nobody ever gets on one of those things thinking, you know, today I'm going to fall down and bust my head or break my shoulder or whatever. But we all do things every day that makes us either less or more likely to do that. And all of us who do these competitions or even ever thought about wanting to do these competitions, or most of us who even wanted to be a pilot in the first place, have a certain personality type that causes us to try to reach up and do a little bit more than we did last time, or a little bit better, to do something better than we've done before. And we all want to do that, and that's why we have people like Collin, people like Doug, people like John and Rusty that create these competitions so we can then go out and showboat and showcase our skills. But the problem is we don't all have the skills that we might have in our head that's in our hands. And we also have a responsibility as pilots. I know all of us out here, as I look out here, even up on this stage, there's people out here infinitely better pilots than me. There's people out here that can fly circles around what I can do. But I have fun doing it, and I try to make sure I do it safely. What I did, I love experimental airplanes. Who doesn't, right? Because we like the fact that we can do some things with them that we can't do with certified airplanes. But I did, like Rusty said, I jumped off the experimental wagon for a while, and I got a Super Cub, certified Super Cub, with the sole purpose of being able to bring pilots into the tailwheel world and off airport landings. Not just tailwheel, but off airport landings. There's lots of places you can go get a tailwheel rating in a Champ or something, and you might be able to keep it straight down the runway. But what I want to do, and I'm going to start more in full force in January because I have another job, but the point is my purpose and my thing is to take people flying. Also, I want to be able to do it, get paid for it, because we all need to stay in the business of getting paid. Everybody here needs to have a job. I'm trying to make my job to be more safe, bring people into this sport and safely. Anybody out here who's ever had an airplane has probably given at least one person an airplane ride. The goal in the airplane ride is never to scare that person. We always want that person to come back and say, man, that was fun. I want to either do it or I want to tell people about it so they can do it. So we are all ambassadors to the sport. And that's what I want to do, is I want to be an ambassador to the sport. And my primary purpose or primary target of individuals is twofold. One is to introduce young people into aviation, because that's our future. The other one is to take older people, mature people who have got their pilot's license, and they want to learn to do a little bit more advanced flying, like what we're doing here. And tailwheel endorsement, if you come to me, is not going to be just doing your 3-point and your wheel landing on the runway. It's going to be, once you get where you can keep it straight, I'm going to show you some strips or some places where you land off airport and do that kind of thing. My challenge to everybody is to just introduce those people to aviation and talk about what you do, and emphasize the fun, but emphasize the fact that there is a lot that goes on before we come to these events. You know, everybody had a first time. My first Stol competition was actually in a Highlander that belonged to a guy who called me up and said, hey, I need some tailwheel training. And what it turned out was he needed everything from zero to hero because he wasn't even a pilot yet. And so next thing you know, I've got his airplane. I said, man, this is a cool airplane. I had a kit box, and I said, this is a cool airplane. Lano was having the Stol competitions down there, and I said, I'd really like to fly that Stol competition. He goes, well, take my airplane. So I did. And I've been addicted ever since to these competitions. It's fun. So all I want to say to that is, if you don't have a tail wheel rating and you're out here in the audience and you want to come to Texas and fly, come see me. If you don't, go to someplace else, learn to fly. When you get in your airplane, every time try to fly it better than you did last time. And if you've got a tail wheel, it's the whole question of tail wheel or 3-point or wheel landing, which is best? The answer is yes. So that's all I got to say about that. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw! I really appreciate that. My challenge to any CFIs out there that have good backcountry experience and are is to try and get people, dialed in, help them walk into backcountry flying slowly, carefully, and if their goal is to compete in competitions, that's a lofty goal. That you got to put in a lot of work for that, and but they need mentors. So if you're out there and you're kind of thinking about it, man, do it. That's one of the best things you can do for our sport and for our lifestyle, is to help people walk into this carefully and get them the skills that they need. And as you guys can see, it takes everybody. It takes everybody to keep this going and to let people know how much fun it is. And we're doing our best out here to provide a great time and a great experience for everybody. I want to turn it over to anybody.
Well, speaking of a great time, like the best sermons are the ones that are short and sweet. I've looked out and I see a couple head noddings, and I'm not looking at just you, Sherry, but I think there's a music festival like 5 miles away from here, and they don't even know that we're having an aviation event. So I think we should everybody stand up for a second. Just stand up if you can. For those of you who can't, don't, and we'll pick on you. No, I'm just kidding. Stretch your arms above your head. Let out a huge woo! Come on, one more time on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Hell yeah. All right, now those of you that were yawning, sir, let's light this thing up.
Sounds good, man. Thank you guys very much, and thank you all for being here. We really appreciate you all.
So I kind of want to add a couple of things here. We got a couple guys here in the front row of the tables here, and this speaks to community. And I appreciate Doug coming, well, everybody coming, but specifically Doug and Collin representing other competitions. I want to make a point. Matt Patterson sitting there, Swamp Stol, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
Anitra Goddard. We support each other. We fly in each other's events. We volunteer at each other's events. And that, to me, is key. And it's why I see it in all the pilots out here. They compete, but they compare notes. They want to win, but they support the other guy. And that's what this is really all about. And it's so flippin' cool.
I second that.
I third that.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Now we've had a lot of phone calls, John, where I've called you and what would you do here? So I appreciate everything. But anyway, is there anything else? Questions?
Anybody got any questions? Burning questions? No? No? All right.
Stopple, here's your one chance, man. Here's your one chance to ask a burning question.
I'm not going to get too close.
We can start with why Doug isn't taller.
Oh.
Anybody?
So what's the future for ArkanSTOL? I noticed we had course changes. This is a new year with a new course change. What do we see next year? Do we see new changes? You said there's 20 runways out here. Are y'all talking about? What do we see?
Rusty, you want that one or you want me to take her? We hand it to Joe.
You guys, we designed ArkanSTOL. Our thought process about ArkanSTOL right from the get-go was that we wanted it to be an ever-changing challenge. We never thought that we wanted it. We knew that it would have to evolve, which it has. But what we'd also like to see is that we keep it fresh. Part of the fun of backcountry flying, you can go to the same sandbar and it's different every time. You come to ArkanSTOL, things might be different every time. We'd love, it'd be real easy to try and set up one course and then keep it forever. But there are always going to be changes. There's always, we're the type of people, right? All of us are, that want that incremental improvement all the time. And I think ArkanSTOL is going to be the same way, is to try and keep it fresh, keep it interesting, and provide a new challenge every time, hopefully.
So was that the best non-answer?
No, that's exactly. New fresh courses every year.
Anybody else? No? All right. Let's eat. Let's party. Let's have some fun.
Woo! Thank you all for coming. And from ArkanSTOL, from our volunteers, our sponsors, thank you so much for the spectators that took the time. We really appreciate you guys.